Hello everyone, welcome to this day after Halloween. It's Dia de los Muertos, for folks of those who celebrate that as well. I'm Michael Taylor, in for Bobby. Funny story, I get a text about 3 in the morning last night. Bobby says, can you come in? I ate all the kids' candy. They didn't have as many trick-or-treaters as they usually get. Ate all the candy, got really sick, and couldn't come in today. The other story might be that she asked for the day off like 2 weeks ago, and I said I was available. So believe whichever story you want. I'm going with the first one. I like that one better. Anyway, regardless, we're going to have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about survival strategies for retirement. With everything going on crazy in the world, we want to make sure Pacific Financial Planners has a plan for us, so stay tuned for that. And then later on, Bobby's conversation with the Orange County Fire Authority. So stick around for that as well. Hey, we've got some stay informed stuff for you. You like golf? Are you going to be able to go out there and hit some balls starting this weekend? Friday, November 3rd, 8 to 8:30, they're going to have the grand reopening over there at the Laguna Woods Village driving range. They refurbish it. It's all great looking again, and it's going to be open to the public. So go down there for the grand reopening and bring your clubs. It should be a fun one. Let's take a look outside. Great day for golf. I'd go out there and golf today. Just a few wispy clouds in the sky, and we're going to have some warm temperatures for a couple more days. Then we start kind of a slow little cooling as we head into the weekend. So sunny skies, then we get a little bit of return to the marine layer in the morning, a few wispy clouds up in the sky during the day, but really nice temperatures for our weekend, so enjoy that. Let's take a look at the sunrise and the sunset. We have our sunrise this morning was 7:10. You guys know we're turning the clocks. We're falling back, right? Falling back? Is that what we do? Yeah, falling back. So it'll be that sunrise is going to change by an hour. And sunset is going to be 5:59 today. This photo is a great sunset shot from Alan Clark, one of our regular people who turn in photos to us all the time. If you'd like to do that as well, we've got a way to do that. Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com is the email that you can send your pictures to us. You can do pets, you can do sunsets, you can do places you've been, whatever it is. Make sure you send your name and where you took the picture, and we will put it right here on the air. Hey, we've got meetings for you, a couple of them today. Take a look at those, and when we come back, Pacific Financial Planners and some retirement strategies. Stay with us.
Most breast cancer, believe it or not, is actually not hereditary. Only about 10 to 15% of breast cancers in this country are related to your family or gene mutations. It's important to understand your family tree so that you can provide this information to your physician so they can properly assess your risk for breast cancer.
Living and learning in Laguna Woods Village is a unique experience. For over 45 years, the Emeritus Institute has provided tuition-free college classes within your community. Join us to experience expert faculty, quality academics, and to make friends through the Emeritus Institute. New classes start every semester, and you can join nearly any time. Visit us anytime at saddleback.edu/emeritus. Learn, live, and thrive with the Emeritus Institute.
At Renew Ketamine Infusion, Dr. Justin Yannick and Dr. Tanya Dahl are board-certified physicians with nearly a decade of experience in ketamine therapy who can help those who haven't found success with other treatments or wish to avoid daily medications. Whether you're struggling with depression, PTSD, anxiety, or chronic pain conditions, our private spa-like clinic focuses on creating the perfect setting for your ketamine treatment. Call us today to schedule your free physician consultation to determine if ketamine therapy is recommended for you.
Hi, welcome to Pacific Financial Planners. We focus on income replacement for your retirement. We have over 3 decades of professional money management experience. We personalize a plan that's right for you and your family. You only get one shot at retirement. Don't you think you better get it right? So give us a call for your free consultation. We can do this over the phone, via Zoom, or in person.
We've got inflation concerns, we've got global problems going on in Israel and Ukraine, we've got cost of living going up. It's a mess out there, but what does that mean for our retirement plans? Well, we're going to be talking to that with Pacific Financial Planner's very own Jerry Slusowitz. Thanks for coming in. It is kind of a mad world for folks, and there's questions about what should I do? Some folks say, I just won't do anything until all this passes. What kind of strategy is that?
Well, it's a decision. People say, I don't want to make a decision. Inaction is action.
Right.
So you're making a decision, and then sometimes to put your head in the sand is could be a bad decision. So that's really important to make sure that you understand how you're positioned given the global backdrop. So I agree with you. Your opening is perfect, is that the economy, the globe is sick. It's got problems. Now, can you imagine if you started to feel heart palpitations, you started to feel weak, you started having cold sweats, you're starting to feel nauseous, passing out, you're probably going to go to a doctor. Now, your doctor says, oh, you know what, you probably need heart surgery. What are you going to say? Well, cut me open like tomorrow? No, you're probably going to get a second opinion. And that's really what people should do. To lessen your worry is look to make sure that your financial plan, your financial situation is aligned with your risk tolerance.
Right.
And a lot of people have no idea, but a lot of them, when you give up your job and you're retired living here in the community, a lot of them, because I know some people work, what do you want to do is make sure you don't want to run out of money. And you don't want to have it be because of market risk. And then sometimes it's spending too much money, but you've got to have someone that can take a look at it, maybe a fresh set of eyes, and help you come up with a plan that protects your capital.
Right. So don't do nothing. But sometimes you'll hear financial planners on an MSNBC show or whatever, CNBC, saying, "Now's not the time. Don't do that. Don't if the market goes down, don't sell, or don't get out of the stock market," kind of thing. So you'll hear that, then that seems like sometimes it translates to don't do anything when there's turbulence. Is that sometimes good advice? It just depends on the market, right?
You're right, though, Michael. Sometimes it's good advice, but who are they talking to? Are they talking to the 25-year-old?
The 25 with a big risk tolerance.
Putting money in the market? Or are they talking to the 65, 75, 80-year-old? Who are they talking to? Now, unless you know, then you don't know if it's good advice for you. So that's why what we do at Pacific Financial Planners is we tailor plans based on your risk assessment, based on your spending, based on your current needs. And that's the thing, is that it's not the outcome that we can predict, but we can control the risk. And they don't say that on TV.
Right.
They just say, ride it out. And so once again, they're generally talking to people who are still working and have money coming in. And there's this thing called dollar cost averaging, buy more when it's down. Well, that does work. Dollar cost averaging is great. But if you're retired and now drawing income off your retirement, essentially you're doing what's called reverse dollar cost averaging. And I could mathematically show it to you. If dollar cost averaging is good, then reverse dollar cost averaging is bad, and you could run out of money. So it's really important to get that second opinion and just make sure you have a plan.
So what risks do retirees face with the higher cost of living that's out there right now? What are the concerns that you're seeing with retirees?
Well, a lot of people come up with a retirement plan, whether it's today, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and we had benign inflation for the last 10 years until like last year. And now things are really starting to cost more. I mean, you don't have to ask me, but gas, right, groceries.
Try to buy a house.
Type of things. Yeah, buying a house. And all these things cost more money. And so the problem is if you're on a fixed income and things cost more, it's depleting your assets quicker. It's depleting your savings quicker.
Right.
So you've got to figure out a way to keep up with inflation. You got to figure out what are your spending needs. See, a lot of people don't know. I mean, the biggest thing, Michael, that I find is that people worry, but then they don't want to know. Again, how much do you spend every month? And some people say, well, it depends on if I need new tires for my car, if I'm going on vacation. No, you can kind of annualize these costs, and they will, over a period of time, this is how much you spend in retirement. You need to know that first. It's a really important number. And then you have to have a plan for the income. So what income is going to be just Social Security? Do I have a pension? How much do I need to draw for my required minimum distribution off my retirement? Where am I going to get the rest of the money that I need? So you got to have a plan. And then the last part, this is the part that most everybody misses, is a protection plan.
Okay.
So I call it the 3 Ps. It's a plan for participation. Where are you going to participate in the market? Is it the stock market? Is it the bond market? Is it treasury bills? Should you have insured investments? And then how is that money going to be protected in case things don't work out? the way it was initially laid out, because you need to reverse course sometimes and make sure that you're not losing money to the market in these kind of times.
Right. Now, there are some folks, especially with the demographic in this community, that maybe they're the spouse and they never did the finances and their spouse has passed away, or they're just overwhelmed by that situation. They kind of trusted that it's just all going to work out. They may be a little bit of a head in the sand. When they come into your office, can they kind of get a breakdown? Here's what you're spending every month. Here's what how you can adjust that. Is that something that you guys can do?
Yeah, these numbers are very easy to calculate.
Right.
I mean, there's the bottoms-up approach, is how much you spend on groceries every month, how much you spend on gasoline, how much you spend here and there and there. And a lot of people don't know. But the best way is to say, okay, so bring in your bank statements the last couple of years if you have them, just the December 31st. I don't need every. This is what you started the year at, and this is what you ended the year at. And it's like how much came in from Social Security and other places, and how much went in. If it's growing, then they're not spending all they take in. But if the number's going down, then they're depleting assets. Then we can figure out what rate. So yes, we calculate all that for you, and we can help you. Now I do see, to the first part of your question, Michael, is that, people say, well, my husband did all this or my wife did all this stuff. I don't really know much about it.
Right.
I get it, but life's like a motion picture, and today's just a snapshot. And so things change. It's just like, some of these financial advisors give advice, like blanket say, well, you got to be diversified. Well, it's kind of like clothing. Okay, so, I'm going to bring
Be stylish.
Yeah, I'm going to bring T-shirts because I'm going to Florida. Well, that might work. But if I'm going to northern Minnesota today, I don't need T-shirts.
Right.
I need sweatshirts. I need parkas. I need coats. So you make sure that your portfolio is dressed for the occasion. And that sometimes requires change, and that does freak people out.
Well, we have a huge divide in the country right now, and I mean, just to pick a speaker took almost an entire month. So how can people plan for some of the unknowns right here domestically?
Good question, Michael. I see that all the time. People say, oh, it's never been worse. I remember history. I wasn't there, obviously. But there was this election around 1860, and it was going to divide the country, where some states were going to leave the Union, and we were going to have a civil war, which occurred. I don't know. My guess is they were pretty divided then, too.
It sounds pretty divided to me.
Sounds pretty divided. So, we have seen these type of things before. Today, because we all live in it, and, this is our world, it's the most important ever. But, these things have repeated. We've seen this before. But generally, election years are good years, because 80% of people that get elected are incumbents. And so they want to be on their best behavior, whether they have a D behind their name or an R behind their name, doesn't really matter. So generally, election years are pretty good. Okay. We've had a really tough run. The market peaked almost 2 years ago. Right now, November of 21, and then the S&P 500 is down 12%, and the Nasdaq's down around 18%, and small U.S. companies, the Russell 2000, are down over 31% from 2 years ago. So it's been bad.
Right.
These historically bad markets, 2 years, that's a long time.
Right.
I think we're closer to recovery. Obviously, there's problems, the main thing in Israel, et cetera, that no one can predict. So we're not going, hey, let's just get in the market. You still have to have a protection plan. But I'm more optimistic than most that things will start to get a little bit better.
Yeah, and people have a tendency to catastrophize things when they're watching just too much news sometimes. They're just taking in too much information, right? And they go, okay, my finances are in trouble.
Absolutely, Michael. Too much news can sometimes be a bad thing. Because unfortunately, we live in a negative world, and negativity sells, and that's what they want.
Right.
But in the end, you control your own portfolio, and you can control the risk. And you've got to have that protection plan in place to make sure you're not taking too much risk. And there's a lot of people out there that maybe can reposition a few things to be safer and create more income, which is what they need.
How can we reduce whatever might be the biggest cost in retirement? What is it, and what can we do to adjust that?
For most people, surprisingly, it's not groceries, travel, it's not healthcare, it's taxes. You have to give your Uncle Sam a big chunk of your money. And it's just, most people have more money in their IRA or 401k than they have in other assets. Well, that $1 million IRA is not really $1 million because you've got to pay taxes on it. Two different sets of households are going to pay a lot different in taxes by not having a plan for taxes. People talk about diversification. You want to make sure you have tax diversified as well. And that's something that we look at, because it's not picking the next Microsoft or Google. It's saying, how could we permanently reduce taxes from your income every single year going forward. And we're going to talk a lot about it because we're at year end. You know, here we
Yep,
are.
year end.
And in year end, we're going to talk about it at this financial forum.
And we got
because
your financial forum coming up. Want to mention that before we go. November 9th, 3 to 5 p.m. over at Clubhouse 7. You're going to be helping folks get through all those things, right?
Right. Next Thursday, 3 to 5, at Clubhouse 7. And we're going to talk about year-end tax planning as well, because that can
Perfect.
really save you money without a whole lot of change.
Jerry, thank you very much. Pacific Financial Planners, he's your man. Come see him on Thursday, November 9th over at Clubhouse 7. That's going to do it for this interview, but we're going to be right back with the Orange County Fire Authority. Stay with us.
Hi, welcome to Pacific Financial Planners. We focus on income replacement for your retirement. We have over 3 decades of professional money management experience. We personalize a plan that's right for you and your family. You only get one shot at retirement. Don't you think you better get it right? So give us a call for your free consultation. We can do this over the phone, via Zoom, or in person.
Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now from the Orange County Fire Authority is Captain Brett Cowdell. Captain Brett, so nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in. It's your off day, so really appreciate you coming in. You said you're going to be mowing the lawn after this today?
I will. My pleasure.
So I was just asking you, it's heating up this week, nice, beautiful temperatures. Do you enjoy that? You like that? Or is that more problematic being in your profession, for potential fires?
Not so much the heat, but the Santa Ana winds. And I believe we're expecting a Santa Ana wind event this week, a mild event. That is what concerns me a little bit more. I work in a station that has one of our brush engines that is called to respond to any fires that happen in the hillsides. And so I'm acutely aware of any incident that might cause that brush fire to spark up, because we could be gone for anywhere from 1 day to 7 or to 14 days. So I'm aware of those things. Yes, the heat does make me perk up a little bit and pay close attention to what's going on out there.
Yeah, definitely a dangerous job for sure. Did you ever consider that, getting into this career, about the danger that could happen with this job?
Growing up in a house with 5 brothers, I kind of found myself geared towards danger, towards daredevil types of things. The aspect that attracted me to this job was truly helping people who needed help, who needed emergency care. I found myself as the ocean lifeguard as a teenager, and I really loved helping in that regard. And so this was a natural extension of that.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're one of 5?
I'm one of 6. I have a sister.
One girl. Now, where does she fall?
She's the oldest.
She's the oldest. And where are you?
I'm towards the bottom.
I love that. I have 5 as well. 1 daughter, 4 boys. Wow. So I know what you mean about the boys. They're rough and tough, that's for sure. So just recently was the National Falls Prevention Week in conjunction with the National Council on Aging. And so this is something I know you wanted to talk about raising awareness for how to prevent falls among older adults. Most falls are preventable.
They are, and we do see a lot of falls, particularly in Laguna Woods, and there are things people can do to minimize the risk of fall, and so that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, how can someone, reduce their risk for a fall? What are the steps that they can take?
Well, there are several steps people can take. One of them, of course, is being aware of the condition of your home and making sure that there are grab bars accessible near the shower, near the toilet, that the rugs that are used are non-slip. Anybody that's wearing stockings or socks as winter approaches, to wear socks that have grip so they don't slip and fall. And lighting is always appropriate. We need to make sure that lighting is appropriate so people can see, so that if there's a step, if the steps are marked, people can avoid any mishaps or falls. That's the first step.
These are the common things in the house: the loose rug, the pet that darts out, or getting up in the middle of the night, not having enough light to see. You know, and yeah, as you said, wearing socks. I didn't even think about that. You probably should wear something with a tread on it, if not the socks with the sticky on it. One of the other things that I looked up was about balance, finding a balance or exercise program. That it's a lot of people believe that reducing your level of activity will help to reduce a fall, but actually that's just the opposite. You should be doing things to have better balance.
That's right.
As well.
People really, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to build muscle. It's never too late to be aware of weaknesses and strengths that you might have in your physical fitness and to work on balance. I know here in Laguna Woods there are balance classes that are offered, and it's important for people to get involved to work on balance so that if there is ever an incident where they get dizzy or they might slip and fall, that they do have a better chance of catching themselves before any injury can occur. So yeah, muscles, working on core strength, working on balance, that will definitely help minimize the risk of fall.
And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 of 4 older Americans fall each year, and then a single fall doubles the chance of falling again. So prevention is absolutely key, and prevention is possible. What about some of the other things that people can do, such as going to the doctor, checking your medications,
Absolutely.
things like this?
There's a couple things people can do. Number one is being aware of your medication and your diet. If anybody's gone through particular weight loss or weight gain, medications might not be in the appropriate dosage anymore because sometimes they're based on weight. So if you're on a blood pressure medication, if you're on a diabetic medication, you might have your blood sugar out of balance or your blood pressure out of balance, and that can cause people to become dizzy and fall. Also being aware of areas of common occurrence is very, very important. Most falls, 80% of falls occur in the bathroom where there are slippery surfaces, and the shower where people can fall and particularly get hurt on tile or hard surfaces. That's important. And then when people get out of bed, sometimes people get out of bed momentarily at night, it's important to sit up for just a moment to let your vasculature adjust. As we age, our vasculature takes longer to adjust, so if we sit at the bedside for just 30 seconds before getting up, maybe to use the bathroom or to get a snack, that can help prevent falls too. People get up in the middle of the night and they need to turn on the appropriate lighting so they can see where they're stepping. All of these things will help people to be safe and not fall.
Wow, yeah, I guess that's, you don't realize when all of a sudden you could get just a little dizzy for a moment, you know, from laying down and sitting up all this rapidly, so that makes sense. And
yeah, I notice it myself.
Yeah.
I'm 52, and even at my age, I'm noticing that if sometimes I get up too quickly, I can feel it in my head. And that just continues to grow as we age. Your vasculature just takes time to adjust to gravity.
And you mentioned diet, because yeah, I have the same thing, like, oh, I skipped breakfast today, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing stars. It's like, oh, wait a minute, why is that happening?
All of that can happen, yeah.
So, makes sense. So you have an updated senior fall prevention facts sheet, and a couple of the facts that kind of stuck out to me. 35% of adults 65 and older suffer traumatic brain injuries after a fall. 87% of fractures in adults over 65 years are a result of falls. Most alarming of all, of the older adults who suffer a hip fracture from a fall, 25% will make a full recovery, 40% will require nursing home care, 50% will need a cane or walker, and 20% will die within 12 months. I mean, that's some scary statistics.
Yeah, they're startling statistics. We really want people to be aware of those statistics because when a fall results in an injury, particularly a bone break or a hip fracture, God forbid, those are difficult to recover from. The fatality rate or the mortality rate does increase significantly with a hip fracture. And as we age, our bones just get more brittle. They do. And it's important to be aware of that and to take the proper steps so that we don't fall, so that we can avoid that bone break and stay safe and stay healthy and live long to see those people that we love.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you, I'm sure you have dealt with this issue where you've been called out when someone has fallen. What are the steps, you know, the fire department or the paramedics take when they come out and someone has fallen?
Well, sometimes, most falls seem to come at night. So we get called out of bed, we come in, we appreciate it when there's a way into the home. Sometimes the door is locked and people have a key with a neighbor or hidden somewhere, and that sometimes can be kept in our notes. So we have a way in, and as we approach the patient, we try to make sure that we know the extent of the injuries. We check for head and neck injury first, because that's the most important thing. And then we look for any other injuries throughout the body, because falls can result in those injuries. The signs that we look for in a hip fracture is shortening and rotation of the affected leg, or on the side that might have the fracture. If the leg is particularly short, or if it's rotated externally, that's one red flag that we look for in a hip fracture. So when we see that, we treat very carefully. We can give pain medication, and then we do rapid transport to the hospital for immediate treatment.
Okay, and do you always recommend they should be taken, like if they do hit their head and like, no, I'm fine, I'm okay, do you always recommend they should go in and get it checked?
You know, it depends on the severity of the fall. We do recommend that people call us out, that they do call us and check us to see if they need transport. We will help them make that determination. If a fall results in the person falling to a seated position, the odds of injury are much more minimized. But if it results in a head injury as they hit the nightstand, then maybe we will transport the patient to the hospital to get that head injury or that leg fracture looked at, yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this. Definitely very informative information, and I'm sure it'd be great, very good to know to prevent falls. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
The Salvation Army Orange County is proud to be a leader in providing comprehensive care to families, men, women, young adults, seniors, and veterans in Orange County. Our shelters provide food, clothing, counseling, housing navigation, and job training. We also provide care through rent and utility assistance, food pantries, anti-trafficking services, adult rehabilitation, and youth programs. Donate today to help families in need and empower individuals towards self-sufficient life.
All right, before we head out for the day, we want to tell you about some of the movies you can watch. We got on this Friday, as we know, Veterans Day is coming up. So we got Paths of Glory from 1957. That's Spartacus-looking Kirk Douglas right there. That's a young Kirk Douglas, and he stars in that one. It's going to be brought to us by Pacific Financial Planners. It's going to be on at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Then on Saturday, we've got Golda. Helen Mirren is going to be starring in that one. And that is with RadNet. It's going to bring us that one. And it's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. So stay tuned for that. Of course, Veterans Day is next weekend, not this weekend. I think I might have misspoke there. Let's check a quick look at the weather before we go. It's going to be warm for the next few days, and then we got some cooling coming in for the weekend, which should be nice. Looking forward to cooler temperatures, probably in the mid 70s as we head into Friday and Sunday, and then even cooler for next week, kind of back to some fall temperatures, which are also going to be great. Hey, tomorrow on this day, we have Thrive with Cindy Whitney, and OC Vector Control's Laura Young is going to be joining us on Thursday, so make sure you join us for that. Bobby's going to be back as well. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For everyone here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. Remember me? I'm the king of whoopee. And you're watching Village Television. But everybody does.